You can't make peace. I mean, let's be realistic here. You can't make peace when someone has been so nefarious, in my opinion, so like horrible. And then finally, with Rocky Best Picture, I managed to grab this giant bowl of flowers and heave it in his direction.
The drama between Hollywood legend Sylvester Stallone and late-night host Jimmy Kimmel seems to have reached a boiling point, and trust us, this is one story you won't want to miss. Imagine this, one of the most iconic stars in entertainment history, a man who brought us some of the most inspiring characters in film, facing off against a late-night comedian whose career seems to be hanging by a thread. It's a classic tale of resilience versus ridicule, and the fallout has been nothing short of explosive.
This Tyson, Jake Paul, according to Netflix, more than 60 million households streamed or attempted to stream what is being called the most watched instance of elder abuse since Joe Biden debated Donald Trump. 58-year-old former heavyweight champ Mike Tyson.
Here's how it all started. Sylvester Stallone, the man who gave us Rocky and Rambo, was all set to appear on Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show to promote his new projects, The Family, Stallone, and Tulsa King. Now, if you know anything about Stallone, you know he doesn't do late-night appearances often. So, for fans, this was a big deal, a rare chance to see the legendary actor open up about his career, his family, and his life. But in a move that left everyone scratching their heads, Kimmel reportedly pressured his network, ABC, to cancel Stallone's appearance. Why? Because, according to insiders, Stallone's political beliefs didn't align with Kimmel's. Let that sink in for a second. Instead of putting professionalism first and giving fans what they wanted, Kimmel allegedly let his personal biases dictate his decisions. And if that wasn't enough, Kimmel didn't just stop at canceling Stallone's appearance. No, he decided to take it further, much further. During a live segment on his show, Kimmel mocked Stallone's political views, throwing out what many fans called cheap shots and petty jabs. These weren't lighthearted jokes or playful banter. They were pointed, mean-spirited comments that left a sour taste in people's mouths. One of his remarks even included a snarky dig about Stallone comparing Donald Trump to George Washington, something Stallone had done during a recent gala at Mar-a-Lago. Kimmel quipped, "I guess those punches Rocky took to the head were real after all. Ouch." That's not exactly the kind of humor that wins people over.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Boy, I need Spanish lessons, no question about it. Right away. Enrolling tomorrow. I'm very, very proud to be here. I didn't expect this, but I'll just keep it short and sweet, because there's no such a thing as a speech too short.
But here's where it all backfired spectacularly for Kimmel. The public wasn't having it. Within hours of the episode airing, social media erupted in outrage. Fans of Stallone, who, let's face it, are some of the most loyal in the world, were quick to come to his defense. Hashtags like Cancel Kimmel and Respect Stallone started trending, with thousands of people calling out Kimmel for what they saw as a blatant lack of respect. One user tweeted, "Disrespecting Stallone. That's a career-ending move right there." Another chimed in, "Stallone built his career on hard work and integrity. Kimmel's tearing his down with pettiness." And the criticisms didn't stop there. Clips from Kimmel's monologue began circulating online, and the comments were brutal. "This isn't comedy," one person wrote. "It's bitterness disguised as humor." Even media critics, who are usually quick to defend late-night hosts, couldn't ignore the backlash. Articles began popping up, labeling the incident as a massive misstep for Kimmel. One piece described it as a prime example of how late-night TV is alienating its audience. Another went even further, suggesting that the incident revealed the cracks in legacy media's foundation. And they weren't wrong. Late-night television has been struggling for years, with viewers increasingly tuning out in favor of more authentic, less scripted content on platforms like YouTube and podcasts. For a show like Jimmy Kimmel Live, which has already been battling declining ratings, this incident couldn't have come at a worse time.
What's going to happen? This man was going to go through a metamorphosis and change lives, just like President Trump.
The fallout wasn't just public. It was professional. Reports began surfacing that ABC executives were feeling the heat. The network, already struggling to compete in a rapidly changing media landscape, couldn't afford the kind of hit Kimmel's actions brought. And make no mistake, the hit was significant. Ratings for Jimmy Kimmel Live reportedly took a nosedive after the controversy, marking one of the sharpest declines in the show's history. For a program that was once considered a staple of late-night television, this was a wake-up call they couldn't ignore.
We are in the presence of a really mythical character. I love mythology. And this individual does not exist on this planet. Nobody in the world could have pulled off what he pulled off, so I'm in awe.
In a desperate bid to save face, ABC reached out to Stallone with what insiders described as an over-the-top apology. They didn't just say sorry. They practically begged him to reconsider coming on the show. Executives reportedly offered Stallone complete creative freedom during his appearance, something that's almost unheard of for a tightly controlled network like ABC. They even dangled the possibility of future collaborations, hoping to sweeten the deal enough to win him back. But Stallone wasn't having it. According to sources close to the actor, he saw the apology for what it was: a hollow attempt to salvage Kimmel's reputation and stop the ratings bleed. And let's be honest, who could blame him? After being publicly mocked and disrespected, why would Stallone want to lend his star power to a show that treated him so poorly?
And I mean it. When George Washington defended his country, he had no idea that he was going to change the world. Because without him, you can imagine what the world would look like. Guess what? We got the second George Washington. Congratulations! Bye.
Fans were overwhelmingly supportive of Stallone's decision to hold his ground. Social media buzzed with messages praising the actor, with many expressing the belief that the network's attempts to reconcile were solely driven by financial concerns rather than genuine regret. Others highlighted that Stallone's stature far surpassed the need for late-night television, emphasizing that it was the medium that needed him, not the other way around. The overall sentiment was unmistakable. Stallone's refusal to back down was celebrated as a triumph for integrity and self-respect.
Here's what I think happened. I think Sylvester Stallone was quietly a Trump guy for a long time. And his daughters are probably like, you shut up, Dad. Because they want to be Instagram, they're like influencer-y, they want to be popular, they want to be invited to the parties through like, Dad, stop it. And then finally he had enough.
Meanwhile, the situation at ABC was reportedly spiraling out of control. Producers scrambled to find high-profile guests who could help repair the damage, but even those efforts seemed to fall flat. Sources claimed that several big-name celebrities turned down invitations to appear on Kimmel's show, further highlighting the growing divide between Hollywood and traditional late-night television. And let's not forget who we're talking about here. Sylvester Stallone isn't just any actor. He's a legend. The man has spent decades building a career that's inspired millions. From Rocky to Rambo, his characters embody resilience, grit, and the power of never giving up. For many fans, Stallone represents the American dream, a self-made success story who overcame countless obstacles to achieve greatness. So when Kimmel decided to mock Stallone, it didn't just feel like an attack on the actor. It felt personal to the people who've been inspired by him for generations.
That's the only difference between what President Trump is doing and what these Democrats have promised the American people for decades. He's actually following through on the promise to cut federal government waste.
The memes that emerged in the aftermath were relentless, with social media users flooding platforms with comparisons between Stallone and Kimmel. Many featured side-by-side images, contrasting Stallone's iconic training scenes from his films with less flattering photos of Kimmel. One widely shared image described Stallone as an inspiration to millions, while portraying Kimmel as a symbol of mediocrity. Another popular meme juxtaposed a clip of Rocky Balboa triumphantly running up the Philadelphia Art Museum steps, labeled as the embodiment of hard work, against a screenshot of Kimmel's monologue, which was described as a display of bitterness. The online reaction made it clear who the public was rooting for.
In the media, because I think it's a real fallacy that there's this alleged lack of transparency when it comes to Doge. President Trump and Elon Musk have been incredibly transparent on what Doge is doing.
But the outrage wasn't just about jokes. It was about respect. Fans pointed out that Stallone has always treated his audience and his peers with dignity. Whether on screen or off, he's known for his authenticity and down-to-earth nature. Kimmel's comments, on the other hand, came across as mean-spirited and out of touch. It's not just about politics, one viewer wrote. It's about decency. Stallone is a class act, Kimmel, not so much. As the backlash continued to grow, it became clear that this wasn't just a bad week for Jimmy Kimmel. It was a turning point, not just for his career, but for late-night television as a whole. And as we'll see in the next section, the broader implications of this incident go far beyond one canceled appearance. Stay tuned, because things are about to get even more interesting.
Think about your life under Donald Trump 4 years ago. Think about your life today under Vice President Kamala Harris.
So, the fallout from the Sylvester Stallone and Jimmy Kimmel debacle wasn't just about one awkward moment on late-night television. It became a full-blown cultural conversation. The incident didn't just expose cracks in Kimmel's career or reputation. It shined a massive spotlight on the state of late-night TV, legacy media, and Hollywood's increasingly polarized entertainment landscape. Let's dive right into the chaos and unpack what this all means for the future of entertainment.
Absolutely. This is the most important election in our lifetime, and it's because we cannot afford a continuation of the past 4 years with record high.
First off, let's talk about late-night TV as a whole. For years, late-night talk shows have been a staple of American entertainment. From the days of Johnny Carson to the likes of David Letterman and Jay Leno, these shows used to bring people together with lighthearted jokes, celebrity interviews, and musical performances. But somewhere along the way, something changed. Late-night TV stopped being about entertainment and started leaning heavily into politics. And not just politics, partisan politics. shows like Jimmy Kimmel Live became less about making people laugh and more about lecturing audiences. And let's be real, people aren't tuning in at the end of a long day to feel like they're sitting in a college debate class. They want an escape, not a sermon. This shift has been a long time coming, but the Stallone incident seemed to be the tipping point. Viewers were already tired of Kimmel's increasingly divisive monologues, but mocking someone as universally respected as Sylvester Stallone? That was the final straw for many. The backlash wasn't just about Stallone. It was about what he represents. He's a symbol of hard work, resilience, and the old-school American dream. For millions of fans, Stallone isn't just an actor, he's an icon. And when Kimmel took aim at him, it felt like a slap in the face to everyone who admires those values.
I mean, and then after Stallone, it was Golf Clubber Lang's turn at the podium. You know, I keep wondering when this bromance between Trump and Elon Musk is going to blow up like a SpaceX rocket, but for now at least, it appears to be going strong.
And here's the thing, Stallone's response wasn't just about protecting his own image. It was a statement. By refusing to accept ABC's apology and standing his ground, Stallone sent a clear message that he wouldn't be used as a pawn in their game. He wasn't going to let them sweep this under the rug and pretend everything was fine. And fans loved him for it. Social media was flooded with posts praising Stallone for staying true to himself. "This is why we love him," one fan wrote. "He's not afraid to stand up for what's right, even if it costs him." Another added, "Stallone doesn't need late-night TV. He's bigger than that." But while Stallone was thriving, Kimmel and ABC were scrambling. The network reportedly held emergency meetings to figure out how to stop the bleeding, but the damage was already done. Ratings for Jimmy Kimmel Live continued to plummet, and rumors started swirling that ABC was quietly exploring options for a replacement host. Insiders claimed that executives were looking for someone younger, fresher, and less polarizing, someone who could bring back the fun and lightheartedness that late-night TV used to be known for. But the real question is it too late? The decline of late-night TV isn't just about Kimmel or his feud with Stallone. It's part of a much bigger trend. Younger audiences have been ditching traditional television in favor of digital platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and podcasts. These platforms offer something that legacy media simply can't: authenticity. People are tired of scripted jokes, canned laughter, and overly polished celebrity interviews. They want real conversations, raw emotions, and unfiltered opinions. And that's exactly what platforms like the Joe Rogan Experience and the Greg Gutfeld Show are delivering.
I know for sure it's not jumping. Maybe it's humiliating himself, I don't know. Trump loves being in front of a crowd because his thoughts, instead of keeping them inside his pumpkin, he can release them to be shared with all, no matter how puzzlingly random they may be.
Take Joe Rogan, for example. His podcast pulls in millions of listeners per episode, numbers that traditional late-night hosts can only dream of. Why? Because it feels real. There's no script, no agenda, just honest discussions about everything from politics to pop culture. And guess what? That's exactly the kind of platform Stallone has been gravitating toward. After the Kimmel fiasco, Stallone reportedly turned down multiple offers from traditional media outlets and instead focused on appearing on podcasts and independent shows. It's a smart move. By embracing these newer platforms, Stallone is reaching a whole new generation of fans while staying true to his authentic self. And he's not the only one. Other Hollywood stars are starting to follow Stallone's lead, ditching the old-school media machine in favor of independent platforms. Zachary Levi, the star of Shazam, recently made headlines for calling out Hollywood's obsession with politics, calling it a creativity slayer. He's not wrong. When was the last time you saw a movie or TV show that wasn't trying to push some kind of agenda? Fans are starting to notice, and they're not happy about it. Even late-night hosts who used to dominate the ratings are struggling to stay relevant. Jimmy Fallon, who was once considered the king of late-night TV, has seen his numbers drop as viewers grow tired of the same old format. And don't even get us started on Stephen Colbert. Remember his cringe-worthy vaccination song? People are still talking about how awkward and forced it was. It's moments like these that make it clear why audiences are tuning out. They don't want to be lectured or preached to, they just want to be entertained.
When I did Rocky, if you remember, the first image was a picture of Jesus, and it says Resurrection AC Club. I found a church that had been converted to a boxing ring. So the image pans down from Jesus onto Rocky being hit. And at that moment, he was the chosen person, and that's how I began the journey.
But here's the kicker. While traditional media is struggling, independent creators are thriving. Shows like Greg Gutfeld's late-night program on Fox are consistently beating legacy hosts, like Kimmel in the ratings. Yes, you heard that right. A guy who used to make jokes about cats on red eye is now outperforming a host backed by one of the biggest networks in the world. Why? Because Gutfeld knows how to connect with his audience. He doesn't take himself too seriously, and he's not afraid to tackle controversial topics in a way that feels genuine and relatable. And that's exactly what Stallone represents. He's not just an actor, he's a brand. His career is built on authenticity, hard work, and a refusal to conform to Hollywood's cookie-cutter mold. Whether he's playing Rocky Balboa or John Rambo, Stallone's characters resonate with audiences because they feel real. They're flawed, they struggle, but they never give up, and that's why fans are so fiercely loyal to him. They see him as a reflection of their own struggles and triumphs.
So far that he was like, you know what? Well, now look at what I'm gonna do.
Exactly.
I'm gonna compare him to a revolutionary hero. And it is funny to have these people watch this. He's not the only one.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, because you react this way, because what the Snow White girl, you know, you never know any peace. Because people have these reactions, most people are quiet about it. People are now being more open about it. He's not the only one.
Meanwhile, Kimmel's career is hanging by a thread. The Stallone incident might have been the catalyst, but the truth is, his decline has been a long time coming. People are tired of the same old jokes, the same tired format, and the same predictable political takes. If Kimmel doesn't adapt, and fast, he risks being left behind in an industry that's changing faster than ever. The Stallone-Kimmel feud has become a symbol of a much larger cultural shift. It's not just about one late-night host or one actor. It's about the future of entertainment as a whole. As audiences continue to move away from traditional media, the industry will have to adapt or risk becoming obsolete. And if there's one thing we've learned from this saga, it's that authenticity wins every time. So, what's next for Stallone? With his move to independent platforms, he's proving that you don't need Hollywood's approval to stay relevant. And what about Kimmel? Well, that remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, the days of late-night TV as we know it are numbered. The real question is, will anyone even notice when it's gone? Let us know what you think. Is late-night TV a dying breed, or can it make a comeback? And what's your favorite Stallone moment of all time? Let's talk about it. Until next time,